Okay, everybody. Thank you for the 2 or 3 of you that waited out for me. This is Colin with Local Enterprise broadcasting from my beautiful basement here in Salt Lake City. And today we've got a special guest for us. It's a friend of mine from the Marine Corps. He is a truck driver. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking with individuals who are in the industry and get a little feel on what's actually going on out there. There's tons of myths, tons of bullshit. Some of it's real, some of it isn't. So I figured I'd bring in our expert here, Mr. William Haynes, goes by the name of Bobby. Bobby, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing my 34 reset out here, and I'm getting the truck work done. It never stops.
Yeah, so let's get this straight. You are on your time off, and you are working.
Yes. If a DOT officer asks, no.
Well, you're not driving, so what's going on? Your truck, I guess, had you had your company mechanic come out and look at it and found some issues.
Yeah, so I work in a small fleet, and we're leased to Landstar. And Landstar requires us to get a DOT inspection every 120 days. So we have sort of an in-house mechanic that we let go through the truck before we go do our actual inspection. And so he found a couple of small problems that he's taking care of right now.
Okay. Nothing major though, right?
No. Oh. No, we come through pretty regularly. You hear a lot of truck drivers are scared to go get their truck looked at because they don't want pay that big bill, that repair bill. But if you have it looked at pretty regularly, you can keep that expense cost down.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as somebody who does his own maintenance, I can definitely I can back you up on that. The pre-trip and the walk around, it's like 10 minutes of your time, but it's really thousands of dollars you're saving. So in the end, and it's lives too. I mean, something as dumb as a brake line or something like that, fucked up slack adjuster, that type of shit can actually can lead to some serious issues. So.
Yeah, and if you can catch it early, you can do like I'm doing and have it done on your downtime instead of on the side of the road when you're running late for a load.
Right. Yeah. So especially now with all the lines at the gas pumps and shit, it's just unreal. It takes forever to get in and out of some of these truck stops nowadays. So what are you hauling right now, and where are you headed?
So I've been doing platform, which is Landstar's way of saying flatbed, since the end of March. And so right now I'm hauling these steel rods, 43,000 pounds of steel rods.
Okay. And where'd you pick them up, and where are they headed?
I picked them up in a little town called Darlington, South Carolina. They said they're the biggest recycling plant in the U.S. I don't know how true that is, but they go and they melt all this junk and scrap metal down, and they make rods, they make coils, they make everything.
Oh, okay.
And I'm taking it up just outside of Pittsburgh, a little town called Blawnox.
Huh. Well, that sounds pretty awesome. I guess just to let the audience know how we know each other, me and Mr. Haynes here got our CDLs at the exact same time for the same school. We served together in the United States Marine Corps. We have one deployment that we shared together. We were in the same unit for since training all the way through, huh? Yeah,
since tank school.
Yeah. Actually,
I think we went to boot camp together.
Yeah, we went to boot camp, and I think we were in. Weren't we in that stupid guard duty shit we had to do?
No, I got out of it.
Oh yeah, you got out. Oh, fucker.
My entire life has been just right place, right time, or lucky breaks. Right. I got out of that guard duty because they called Hayes, which sounds like my name, but right. Missing an N.
Yeah.
And so I went up there and I talked to the staff sergeant there. I'm like, hey, did you call Haynes? Did you call Hayes? And he's like, I don't know. Just get on the bus.
Okay. Oh man, yeah. So that is no joke, man. Like the entire time I've known you, you've managed to skate out of some shit, but no one beats my record. I lived in the barracks the entire time I was in the Marine Corps, and I only did barracks duty twice, and I volunteered for both of it. And the reason why I got away with it is because I had the last name Smith. So anytime they'd call my name, they're like, Smith, you did it last week, right? I'm like, yep.
Yep.
And nobody called. My second greatest achievement in the Marine Corps was I went the entire time I was there without getting a Humvee or a 7-ton license, and I drove them both all the time. It was like they never bothered to check. Like, you got a Humvee license, right? I'm like, yeah, fucking A.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a funny story about that too. I went and I did they said, Haynes, you're gonna go get your Humvee license. I said, okay. Everyone's telling me, no, you do not want to get this license because you're gonna have to be checking the vehicles out all the time.
Right.
So I go, I do their little test, and I do it perfect. You have to do this little S curve through these cones with a Humvee, and then back right back up. And I did it perfect. I get out, and he goes, "You failed." I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You didn't put your seatbelt on." Oh, you kidding me? I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
So I go, and they're like, "You got to go back and retake it." And so I go back, and then they tell me, "Oh no, you're getting your MRAP license. You didn't even have to pass that Humvee test."
Nice.
And so I went and got my MRAP license.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just so people are aware, me and Haynes here, we both served as mechanics in a 1st Tank Battalion. Had a beautiful 29 Palms, California. And when we were getting out, there was a program that you could do assisted tuition and whatnot, and it was to get your CDL. And for me, I personally, I didn't really ever plan on driving professionally. It was just a really good way of getting the fuck out of work because the school started at noon, so you could get out of. You basically be working half days at the Tank Battalion, and then they couldn't tell you no. Like you had to, like, because it's part of the education, so they let by default let us out 5 days a week at noon. We had half days for like what fucking 2 months before we got out. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly why I did it.
Yeah,
so I didn't have to go to work.
Yeah, and so like, and plus, you know, I always wanted to learn to drive a big truck, and at that time, the school we went to was still certifying people in manual transmissions, and we both got checked out on Super 10s, which is why we have no restrictions on our endorsements, motherfucker. Yeah, we still know how to drive a real truck, but yeah, it was just a great way to get out of work, and then after about doing it for about a week or two, after you get the fucking pre-trip shit down, oh my god, that was the worst part of the whole thing. Was trying to memorize.
That was the hard part.
Yeah, but driving it was fun, and where we did our training out in 29 Palms, it was real open. There wasn't a lot of shit to run into. It was pretty user friendly. There was also a lot of good, easy grades to where you can learn how to downshift properly and all that stuff. Plus, our instructor Ward was fucking hilarious. Like,
yeah,
you know, a lot of people thought he was a dick, but I thought he was awesome. You know.
Yeah. Another funny story is that, you know, doing that training, you know, I spent most of my time trying to memorize that pre-trip and then doing the backing. And so my driving experience was very limited, but I was set to leave the Marine Corps. October 10th was my last day.
Yeah, mine was the 9th.
And so I went to go take that test. Whether I was ready or not, I was going to take this test. And if I didn't pass it, I was leaving California. I wasn't coming back.
Right.
And so I went down there and I took the driving. I passed the pre-trip. I passed the backing, and we went out and drove, and I could barely shift that thing. But somehow we made it back, and the instructor's like, "You need to practice your shifting, but you passed." I was so relieved. I was like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "Man, you have no idea. Like, I was about to owe $4,000 for this school that I was not going to pay."
Yeah, honestly, like, as far as I know, only a handful, like you yourself, you and myself, are the only ones that kind of ended up in the industry that I know of. I think there's like maybe 2 other people, but I've lost contact with them. I don't even know if they're still driving, to be honest. But it was, I'm glad I did it because when I got out of the military, I went down the mechanic route. I started wrenching for a living because that's what I did in the Marine Corps. And it actually came in handy in that because when I started working on heavy trucks, having a CDL, when you put that down on your resume, they're like, "Oh wow, cool! You know, we got a guy that can actually fix shit and drive with a fucking trailer." So if you can drive with a trailer as a mechanic, there's a lot more shit you can that opens you up for troubleshooting and stuff like that. You know, because as a driver, there's issues that don't happen until you hook up a fucking trailer. You know.
Yeah.
So it gave me a lot of in with that with the repair side of the house, but I never thought I would drive for a living, which is pretty funny. That after all this time, I ended up doing it, but as an owner operator. So just so the audience is aware, Mr. Haynes here, he drives heavy trucks, as we mentioned earlier. I am an owner operator of a hot shot business. Little bit different as far as obviously the operational side, but as far as DOT and the rules, we got to follow all the exact same shit. And I got to pay almost the same fucking insurance. Believe it or not, it would be cheaper for me to insure a fucking semi than it would be my little one-ton cab chassis, because the liability and the risk of wrecking is much higher with a smaller truck. And it's, let's face it, the hotshot industry kind of fucked itself over the last few years with people doing dirty trucking and overloading their trucks and shit like that. So, but I guess we'll just get in the meat and potatoes of what I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. What's it like on the road right now in this fucked up shitstorm of transportation we're dealing with?
Well, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific.
Okay. Well, we'll go with the myth number one. Fuel shortages. Have you been anywhere where there's actually been no diesel at the pump, or are they just, down for maintenance or recalibrating them for the $10 a gallon diesel that's coming up?
I've been to a couple that have been out of diesel.
No shit, out of diesel.
Like, middle of the day, out of diesel, and they don't know when they're getting more.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
They got to shut down all the lanes.
Huh. And like, what part of the country was that in?
So it's happened. It's mostly, I drive mainly between Illinois and the East Coast.
Okay.
That half of the country. But I see it mostly on the coast. So like New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia.
The Carolinas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
No shit.
I know Ohio, they had 2 major refineries shut down at the same time. And that caused a little bit of a shortage. Yeah. For about a month.
But this was a while ago though, right?
Yeah, this was a few months ago.
See, okay. And that's kind of my theory on all this is like what we're seeing now is from shit that was happening a couple months ago. I live right next to a big refinery, and they had to shut down for about 10 days to do some kind of maintenance or some shit. And that's when we started seeing the price going up and up and up and up. I guess my next question is DEF. Do you run a truck that has it? And if so, have you had any issues finding that?
So I'm going to answer this in 2 parts. The company I was working for before, he was an owner. He was my mentor. He's the one that actually taught me how to be a truck driver. And I was running for him for a long time. And we bought, the first truck he bought was a 2014 T680, Kenworth T680. It had the DEF, and we ran it for a while. And it ended up shutting down on me in New Jersey. And so we had a huge tow bill from the turnpike. We took it to a shop, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And so what we ended up doing was took it to another shop, and they did a delete on it. But they did a whack delete. It was like they sent it off to some Russian guy, and he sent it back, and we had all sorts of problems. Hang on one second, my mechanic's knocking on the door.
Pump the brake down past 100.
Okay.
And then see if it'll go up.
There you go, folks.
Yeah, dealing with airlines, the air system.
Did it go below 100?
Yeah.
Now see if it'll go up. 120.
So what he's doing, folks, is checking his applied brake pressure to see if that line will hold after the mechanic just fixed it.
It's building up real slow. It's building up real slow.
Rev it up and see if it goes 120.
Tell you what, though, that headset of yours, Mr. Haynes, does a good job of canceling the motor. I had no idea your engine was running.
Yeah, I went to a truck stop and they had the windscreen because mine fell off. I've had this headset 7 years
Oh, wow.
since I first started driving. There it goes. It's building up now.
Yeah, them older trucks, the governor cut in sticks a little bit. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's usually it's where it's maxed. That's where it runs
120
normally.
now?
Yeah. Yeah, I bought this headset when I first started driving, and I lost this little windscreen. And for the longest time, I didn't care about it. But I saw some at the truck stop and decided to pick them up.
That's awesome.
Shut it off. Shut it off for just a couple minutes, okay?
Okay, not a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Carl Bonecutter, he's a pretty good mechanic. He's always finding little stuff, making sure that these trucks stay running.
That's good, man. That's what I was a fleet mechanic for a little while for medium duty trucks, and that was the thing. Like, if you didn't get the small stuff up front, it would turn into a big problem. Like, even like something as dumb as a leaking manifold gasket between where the turbo and the manifold. Dude, if you don't get in front of that, your turbo, boom. Like, a lot of people don't realize that. It's like, oh, it's just an exhaust leak. It's like, not with the turbo motor. That shit needs to be sealed tight. Because they don't realize that turbo spins at like 18,000 plus RPMs, or 180,000 RPMs, and that fucking thing. If there's any dissymmetry between the compressor side and the exhaust side, that shaft will come out of balance and bam,
Oh yeah.
I just did an insurance claim for that. Like, the shop was saying, oh, it was nothing we did. It's nothing we did. And so when I looked at the turbo, it was cracked, and it was cracked right where the bolt, one of the flange bolts was. I'm like, I know what you did. This thing kept kicking out gaskets, so you did a hot tight on it, and you didn't torque it, and you cracked it. And they're like, well, I didn't see
that.
I didn't see that crack. I'm like, it's right there. And he goes, well, that could have happened after the turbo overheated. I said, that's a good theory, except unfortunately for you, the crack is permanently imprinted on the gasket itself. So I know that crack was there before you tightened this down the last time, because that's what happened. It kept kicking out gaskets, Yeah. And when it's funny, when I show up on insurance claims, most people just think I'm some stupid fucking insurance guy. They have no idea that I've got like 10 plus years of wrenching, a couple years of driving under my belt, So I know what I'm looking at when shit like this happens, and I've done it.
Yeah. So back to the DEF.
Yeah, back to
This-
we got a little
this-
sidetrack there. Yeah, back to the DEF.
This truck, after we did this whack delete job, we were having problems with it. We took it to another shop, and they sent it off to some manufacturer in Canada, and they did another delete on it, and that one was like a legitimate one, and so we ran. So now every truck he buys, he just takes and deletes it.
So, well,
And
I think since we're public here, we'll leave your employer's name off this.
yeah, so that was the last guy I drove for. So
the
now,
last guy you drove for. Okay.
yeah. So now the small fleet on part of how I found them. The fleet manager started a trucking podcast himself, and it was called An American Trucker. And he was just explaining his story and the things that he failed at. And it was just really good information for a new guy like me.
Yeah.
And then he met up with another guy, Larry Long, who was a business guy. He had done all these different businesses and been an entrepreneur all his life. And at 60 years old, he went and got a CDL.
Wow, it's 60?
And so because he was bored. He had sold his last business. He was bored. He went and got a CDL. And he said, hey, this is the easiest business I've ever seen. You don't have to go chase down customers. You don't have to go chase down checks,
Uh,
and so
that's debatable nowadays. Maybe that was true when he got his license, but especially the way the industry's going now, man. I I know me personally. I deal with brokers as least amount of possible as I can
yep.
because number one, I found that if the broker's hosing you, they're probably hosing the shipper too. They're the client, most likely, And I just like, for instance, there's been a couple of dealerships here locally for me that I delivered to earlier in the year or sometime last year when the truck was out here, and I did a couple deliveries with my business partner. And you know, when I sent my mass emails out and did my cold calls and all that stuff, uh, when I found out what the brokers were charging them versus what I was getting, I was like, motherfuckers are taking damn near 50% of the load. Fuck that, you know. So I've just been going around a dealership, just fucking undercutting everybody, and it's not. I feel bad for the other truckers that like the hotshot guys that are, you know, from out of state and they kind of rely on the brokers to make those contacts. Because an asshole like me comes in and does it for something they'll never do it for. But I still make a good profit because I'm not paying a middleman and I own my shit. I don't have any fucking debt as far as the equipment's concerned. And that's a big thing. So I'm sure when old boy got into it, it was probably pretty lucrative. But it seems like now, man, I don't know how it is with the heavies, but I know in the hotshot world, dealing with the brokers, you're just you got to travel the country all the way around the country to make money, and even then you're not making money because diesel, like especially where I live, dude, it goes up $1 in either direction. Like I live in a state where it's still 5 something a gallon, which is okay, but I mean you go to Nevada, you go to California, any of these other fucking states around me, it's like $6+ a gallon, and I just like what's the average price out there where you're working?
So I got to back up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So with big trucks, it's a little bit different than hotshot. To get into big trucks, you generally have to go to a company and drive for about a year as a part of a training to finish out your training.
Right.
Before you can go do pretty much anything else. Or you can go buy your own truck and try and drive, but it's hard to get brokers to work with you because you don't have any experience and you're a new authority.
Right.
So I did the company driver route for a while, and then my mentor, he got his own. He's always been leased to companies, and so I've done all sorts of different things. And now the company that I'm at now, Blue Ribbon. So when Larry first started driving, he did the company route, and then he saw, well, this is easy. I need to go own my own truck. And so he bought a truck and he was leased to Transport America. And then he started going to, I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin Rutherford. Have you heard that name before?
No.
He's a big name in the truck radio space.
Oh, okay.
He's got a show on Sirius XM.
Oh, okay.
And so Larry had listened to Kevin Rutherford for a long time because he's kind of the Dave Ramsey of trucking. He gives out advice and people call in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, he started doing a live event. And so Larry, being the business person that he is, went to this live event. And he saw all these real professional looking people there. And most of them were from Landstar. And so I thought, I'm going to go check that out. So he moved the truck over to Landstar. At this point, he had 3 trucks. And he moved one truck over to Landstar, and the revenue it made was blowing the other ones out of the water. So he moved all his trucks over to Landstar. And so for the past 10 years, he's been, refining his business strategy, I guess. And so what we do here at Blue Ribbon is we buy older trucks that are pre-DEF, that 2007 or older.
Fuck yeah.
So some of them have EGR, but it's workable.
Yeah. That's just some cleaning every once in a while.
Yeah, but no DEF that we mess with. We run Freightliners and with a Series 60 Detroit in them, the 12.7 or the 14 liter.
Right.
because every TA is a Freightliner service point, so we can get parts wherever we're at in the country.
It's a good strategy, actually.
And then we're leased to Landstar because Landstar does a lot as far as being leased to them. So they have their broker authority, and so they have agents that go out and find customers, and then they build out a load board. So they have an app where I can look up the load board and see all the loads that they have. And they also have the compliance department with them. So like hazmat loads, if I have an issue, I can just call them up and they'll tell me, hey, you're good to go, or no, this paperwork's wrong. You need to get them to fix it. And so it keeps you out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I could definitely see, like, in the heavy world, why having that kind of infrastructure would be a huge advantage, just because the red tape is probably a little bit more extensive as far as the type of loads you guys are hauling. Like, you're not going to see a lot of hotshot guys hauling hazmat stuff. And
well, there's a couple of hotshot guys here at Landstar that haul.
Oh, really?
And to be qualified for Landstar, you have to have hazmat. They might not haul it, but I think I've seen a couple haul, the chemical totes.
Right. Yeah, I guess like for farming and stuff like that, lower key stuff. Like, I guess that would make sense. Do you? I never got my hazmat endorsement. I didn't feel the need for it then. So, but you did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it when I lived in Texas. I had it, but then I ended up moving, and when you move states, you got to transfer it over.
Yeah.
And so I never transferred it over. But when I decided to come join the Blue Ribbon program, because the other thing they do is they take company drivers and they have a program where you can come drive their trucks, and they'll start to teach you the business side of trucking, so that they prepare you to go own your own truck.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to do that, I had to go get my hazmat so I could qualify for Landstar.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do eventually. Come to find out, being an owner-operator is a fucking lot of work, man. Like,
it is.
It's even for hotshot. And I only specialize in one thing. I move cars. That's it. I mean, I thought about getting working into the freight industry, but it's not as predictable. And yes, don't get me wrong, the paying is a lot better. But I'm really, really trying to focus on local. I mean, I live in an area where there are like thousands of dealerships, and I do mean thousands. I mean, there's from the little lemon lots to major, manufacturer dealerships, and I just figure I'd do it like my boss did with his insurance deal, is just stick in one area, scoop up all the business there, and then move out. I can't justify crossing state lines anymore with cars are paying shit right now, man. They really are. Like, I feel bad for the big parking lots, man. Them guys, I don't know how they're doing it, man, because I know they get shit fuel mileage. And, and I know those cars are only paying like sometimes 70, 80 cents per car, per mile. Now, granted, when you stack 10 of them on there, it seems decent, but I know they're filling up at like $3,000 every time, and they're doing it frequently, So for me, I figure if I could stay local, I keep my fuel down, I can keep my maintenance down too, my wear and tear, and I don't drive more than 200 miles a day when I do drive, and that's in both directions, you know what I mean? So that's max, Sometimes that's just doing 25 miles in between different, stops. So I'm just trying to be the guy that all the guys call around here to have their inventory moved, because more often than not, I'm not hauling nice stuff. That's the other cool thing. They don't really care about these cars.
Yeah. That's what we do here at Landstars. We, as you look at the load board, you start finding agents that have loads. You start to kind of carve out a little space for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you look on the load board, there's 100,000 loads there every day.
Oh yeah, yeah. But they're not all paying.
And so, no, well, just depends.
Yeah.
Some.
Go ahead.
Like you were saying, you got your stuff paid off, and so your cost to run, your cost per mile is real low. A lot of these guys got into it a year ago, 2 years ago. They went and bought, $80,000 to $100,000 truck, no down, easy payments, and so they're paying. $1,000 a week for the truck.
Ooh. And and it's funny, dude, because I know that there's no different in the hot shot. A lot of these guys, dude, to get a decent hot shot rig, like if you want to go the brand new route, you're still gonna spend as much as you do on a semi, you know, or pretty close to. Like you're just go ahead and price out a new Ram 5500 or an F550, dude. They're close to $100,000,
Yeah.
And that's just
that's
the bare
for
truck.
a used semi.
Yeah, and that's for a used semi. A brand new one's going to set you back closer to $250,000 if it's a really nice one. But
Yeah.
I mean, a used semi will do a lot,
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I do, like, I'm torn, dude. I don't know if I should get a newer hotshot truck. When I mean newer, I mean like '05 instead of the 2000 that I'm running. Or if I should just kind of bite the bullet and get into the bigger stuff. But like you said, there's a lot more red tape, and that doesn't really fit my desire to stay away from brokers. I know once I get into the big trucks, I don't have a choice, dude. I'm going to have to fucking learn all those lessons that your boss learned, the hard way 10 years ago. And I'm going to have to fucking do that. And right now, that's just not a good time. The profit margins are too small for me to be making mistakes. Whereas, like, when I'm in, hauling cars, I know what I'm getting into. And I can flat rate. That's what a lot of people love about my shit is, I don't charge people by the mile. I do everything within 50-mile radius. It's one flat fee. The only thing that changes is if it's running or not. If I have to use my winch, you're going to pay an extra $20. Oh, no. Still cheaper than a tow truck, but I still make a killing.
Oh, yeah.
I end up making about $4 to $5 a mile, but my bare minimum, let's say I do have to go the full 50 miles, I'm still making $2, So $2 a mile. I know big guys can't really make money at that. I know they can't. Well, some can. It depends. But I can make $2 a mile and be happy. Like,
Yeah.
it's
And
just
see, that's what a lot of drivers in this, at least on the on the big side, the heavy side, they want you to be a company driver, and they just want you to shut up and drive the truck. Don't be asking questions. Don't be thinking on your own.
yeah.
So a lot of people they get fed up with their dispatcher, or they get fed up because they're not home enough, and so they think they're going to go out there and they're going to buy this truck and they're going to be able to do whatever they want. And so it's a big shock when they come out here. And
Yeah.
I think the turnover rate is like 90% of first-time owner-operators fail,
Oh yeah.
and it's a lack of education.
Well, that and it's the unforeseen overhead. Like, my insurance is fucking gnarly, dude. Like, because you're going to be what they call a new venture for 3 years. So
Right.
you're going to pay.
If you get your own authority.
Yeah, and I got my own authority. We thought that would be the smarter thing to do because we're not cutting anybody in. But either way, there would have been no way around it. Like, I wanted my own authority. We wanted our own deal. And my philosophy was if you think small, you're going to be small. So I was thinking real big when I got into this shit. Then I had a little bit of a reality check.
It takes time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anybody who
It takes
thinks
so
they can get into this and be a millionaire like the next year, does it happen?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it, but that's the exception. That's not the fucking norm,
Yeah.
man. Like,
it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort.
and
so when me
it's dangerous
when me and my
too.
mentor started, he bought a truck, and he was driving himself a little hotshot truck, and he was leased to a company called Unimark on truck chassis. And so he pulled out of a rail yard up in Indiana. So when he brought me on, he bought a big truck, and we hauled, the bigger truck chassis. And that was 2018, right? We started out with one truck. Right now, I think he said he had 8 trucks. Plus, we started an insulation business together that I'm no longer a part of. But we started that from scratch, and that's up to, he's got 3 crews running now. And he's a big time farmer, and so he's got a bunch of cattle, a bunch of pigs.
Yeah, so he's spread out. He's and you know what though, and this is, and I've been saying this for a long time. Like, once the economy started taking a shit, maybe people see some of my other videos. The only people that are going to survive the next 4 years are the guys that aren't in debt, the guys that own their own shit, and the guys that actually have more than one income. Like right now, I'm not gonna lie, man. My insurance gig pays my fuel for my company. That's what I use it for. It's so I'm and the reason for that is because more often than not, I'll get inspections in the areas where I also pick up cars. So sometimes I'll just drop the trailer and fucking do an inspection. So that's how I'm cutting my costs. Is I have two jobs paying for the same miles. Not all the time, but ideally that's how it works out. And a lot of people, right? Like I said, dude, the guys that are in debt, oh man, I don't see how they're gonna make it. I don't. And a lot of people think the mega carriers, oh, they're gonna take all the work of this and that. I'm like, you don't know what their overhead is. And CR England don't drive used trucks. And when those trucks go down for emissions issues, their trucks are gone. They're done. And the theory behind it used to be like, well, if I have a new truck or I lease a new truck, then they'll just have another one waiting for me. That's not the case anymore. You know, the dealerships don't have the trucks to lend them.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things going from a company driver to being an entrepreneur is that when you're an entrepreneur, you got to figure it out. You got to do what it takes.
Yep.
Like you have an insurance job and you have a truck driver job, but you figure out how to do them both efficiently, and you use one to benefit the other.
Yeah.
And a lot of people cannot put that together.
No, and it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Like this is okay. The fact that I have enough time to do this right now is rare. Point in case, like I looked at my workload, and I've got 10 files I still need to write from Thursday and Friday, but it's early enough on Sunday. I'm going to be driving all day tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm not taking on any insurance gigs because I have 7 cars to move. But then Tuesday I'm not going to haul any cars. I'm just going to do insurance, And it's I don't know if it's smart. A lot of people have been naysaying like, "Oh, you should just quit. You should get out of it. There's no money in it." I'm like, if I quit, number one, I'm out like the 60 fucking grand I've invested into this business, which is not something I'm cool with. And number two, I actually like it. I didn't think I would, man. Like I took over the business, like operational side because I had to, because my business partner, he couldn't make money at it. Where he lived geographically, it wasn't going to work for him. There just wasn't enough work there. And he didn't want to. He's got 2 little kids, man, and he wants to be involved. Mm-hmm. And he goes, man, when they're teenagers, I don't give a fuck. I'll go on the road all day, which makes sense because the teenagers don't want nothing to do with you. But he says when they're little, I got to be around them, so they at least recognize me.
I got 3 little ones at the house right now.
Yeah, and so it's hard being away from home when you have little ones, and they don't even fucking recognize you when you come home. It's like I don't have kids, thank the fuck Christ, but.
Being an entrepreneur is hard. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, and
like a lot of people see these successful people and they're like, oh, they must have had it easy, or they had contacts or whatever. But no, it is hard work.
Yeah, and not
everybody can do it.
No, and a lot. Let's be honest though, a lot of it's luck too. But see, you can be as lucky as hell, but if you don't recognize that as an opportunity to capitalize on, you're not going to fucking succeed,
Exactly.
Like
half of luck is being prepared.
Well, and communication. Like if you're not willing to talk about what you do for a living, no one's ever going to fucking take you seriously, no matter what it is in life. That's why work is so important to not only me, but a lot of other people, like I've never met a millionaire that won't tell you how they got their money. Never, unless they're a drug lord. But that's not the type of industry I want to get into. I'd probably be pretty good at it, but I'm not a smuggler. But I've never met a successful person. I shouldn't say just a millionaire, because that doesn't even mean you're successful anymore, in my opinion. I've never met a successful person who wasn't willing to share, hey, this is how I did it. And they'll all say the same thing. Took a lot of work, took a little bit of luck, and I made contacts, but you don't make contacts sitting around the house waiting for someone to give you money. It's not how it works. And they fucked up a
so
lot too. A lot of them will admit, "Oh, dude, this is like my third try at this, or something else." You
Yeah.
know, like there's
yeah,
no,
you just keep trying till you don't give up.
yeah, you can't quit.
And there's a, because I drive, I read a lot of books and I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of YouTube videos. And there's a saying, I can't remember. It's a motivational speaker or one of those guys, and he says, "In 5 years, you will be the same person you are today, except for the books you read and the people you meet." And that's exactly what you're saying, is those contacts and learning to grow as a person and extending out your network.
Well, and what I'm learning in this business is you cannot be afraid to fail. You can't. You shouldn't think you can't fail, all right? But you shouldn't be afraid to. Like this in this industry, more than anything I've ever seen, scared money really don't make money. Like if you weigh all the risks versus the reward, you'll never go to work. I mean, realistically, I mean this job is dangerous as fuck. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, everybody tells me, don't you just drive a truck? You just drive all day? Oh, I mean, yeah, but I mean, doesn't LeBron just play basketball all day?
Yeah.
Doesn't he just dribble that ball?
Yeah, don't pilots just fly all day? No, I mean it doesn't seem dangerous. It doesn't seem exhausting, but it is, and there's a lot of risks. Like people don't realize how much faith they put in moving parts on their vehicle. Number one, or the fucking tires they sit on. You know.
Yeah.
Just now, like so. Including the insurance gig, I've been driving for a living now for almost 10 years, right? I've been on the road almost every day. The amount of shit that I see, especially as an insurance appraiser, I have seen a lot of nasty accidents, both while they happened and, of course, days after when I go look at the wreck. Dude, people can't even fathom how fucking dangerous the highway is. And if you really think about it, man, like, is it worth the money? I mean, to most people, no, and that's why not everybody does this. And especially right now with the way the rates are and the fuel costs, like you really got to love this job, and that's one thing I can't stress to people enough. It's like, dude, if you think you're gonna get into trucking, you're gonna find out within the first month if it's for you. And me, I never thought I'd like it. I fucking love this shit, man. Like
same way.
It's an
I never
attitude.
wanted to be a truck driver. Like that was never in my. I always had in my mind, you go get a job, you climb the corporate ladder, and you work your way up.
Yeah.
And so being a truck driver, I thought you go be a driver and that's it. There's nowhere to go. You can't become head driver.
No. I mean,
And
and pilots, I guess it's kind of like that, but you can be a chief pilot. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like other industries, like realistically, this industry is a sink or swim scenario. You either be a driver the rest of your life, or you fucking nut up and take on something bigger, either buy a truck or a fleet or something, you know. But like, there's no in between here. You know what I mean? Like you either drive or you own the fucking thing. And I thought I was gonna skip a step. I'm like, I'll buy a truck and you go drive it and make me money. That's not how it worked. Not how it worked at all. And
well, we actually have another program here at Blue Ribbon. So Blue Ribbon now officially owns 0 trucks in their fleet. So what happened when Chris and Larry met, Larry was getting ready to quit. He had a few drivers and he was gonna sell their trucks they were driving to those drivers, and he was gonna get out completely.
yeah.
Chris had been an owner operator for a few years and was not doing the business side of trucking, and he had an engine blow, and so he was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And when they met, they came together and they started working together. And Larry thought, if there's people like Chris out there, I can teach them the business side. And so we can get them to come, and Chris can teach them the trucking side, how to be successful. Oh, hang on one second.
Yeah.
We are at 756-186.
Shaking in the front end.
I haven't noticed any shaking, but I'll be watching for it.
I'm just saying, next gearbox, we've got plates.
Well, we'll just kind of keep the dead air at a minimum here. thank you for those of you that are tuning in. Go ahead and drop a comment in the chat if you like. I am watching. I will respond. Auntie Green, hope you're still there. Thanks for lurking while you make your carnivore pizza. By the way, Auntie Green, since you've been the most interactive fan of the show so far, I went ahead and rewarded you with a wrench. So keep the N-word towers out of my chat, please. Thank you. Not saying you do it. I'm saying if you see it, X-nay those people. Because, you know, it's YouTube. I don't want to get in trouble. Which sucks. Because, not that I have a problem with free speech, but on this platform, I guess you have to. It's just gay as hell. Yeah, for those of you just tuning in, we've got Mr. William Haynes here on the interview, and he is an over-road truck driver, and he is discussing the industry with me, and we both come from different ends of the spectrum. He drives a large semi, I drive a small hotshot. But like I said, there's a lot of overlap, especially when it comes to the DOT, a lot of intertwining regulations, and, you know, I get flagged probably for inspections more than he does, just because of the nature of the business. And, wow, look at that. We're getting almost an hour here on this live stream, which is pretty good. Thank you guys very much for tuning in and sticking with us, for the 3 or 4 of you that have. And I'd like to see the channel grow, get more interaction. Really, really enjoy doing this. And I really, really appreciate you guys that tune in.
Never stop.
This is really more of a hobby for me, of course. I don't ever foresee it becoming a source of income, but it would be nice. It would be nice, but I don't really foresee that. So, there you go.
Thank you, Carl.
All right.
No problem,
Sorry about
Annie
that.
Green. Good to go.
Okay, so Larry doesn't own any trucks, but he decided that he could teach people how to be successful. And what he started running into was Chris had the podcast, and so Larry jumped on with the podcast as well. And so they got so many drivers asking to come learn directly from them that they didn't have enough equipment to put drivers in. So they started asking some other owner operators if they had empty trucks sitting around, that they would take them and put these drivers in. You know, like you match up your insurance with your delivery schedule, right? They're matching up drivers with equipment that's just sitting there making no money.
Right.
And so
That's smart.
so now they have the podcast which brings in the drivers, and then they now have we have 13 trucks, and I believe most of it, probably 8 or 10 owners of the trucks. Now some of them own a couple of trucks, more than one, but we have 8 or 10 owners, and so they get Blue Ribbon gets a percentage of the truck revenue. I get paid. I'm a company driver, W-2. I get paid my percentage, and then after all the expenses get out, the owners get a check for doing nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say they're doing nothing. I mean, and that's
they bought the truck, they
mean.
pay for the maintenance, but you know they're not out here driving it, putting in the time.
Right.
No deal.
Yeah, they're getting paid for what they know, not what they can
Exactly.
do. And that's
They put in the work before to build up the capital to buy the truck.
yeah, and that's
Now
what it's
they're
all
reaping that
about.
benefit.
I mean, eventually, like that's why I got into the insurance gig, is because I've done repairs for so long. I've been on the maintenance side of the house. When it comes to insurance, that's what I get paid. I get paid for what I know. I don't have to. I mean, realistically, my job's taking pictures and writing estimates. It's not that complicated on its face. You know, it actually is quite stressful and very complicated. But as far as hands-on work, it sure beats busting your knuckles at fucking, you know, the middle of December on the side of the road somewhere. And, but, you know, now here I am, owner-operator, refused to pay someone to work on my shit. So here I am, back in the maintenance gig. It's like everything I do for a living is like a black hole. You know, it just always sucks me back in. And I really, really enjoy it though, man. Like I said on a previous video, you're going to have to kill me to get me out of this industry now, because I see so many people walking away from it. I'm like, ooh, give me your outs, bud. Give me your cars, you know, like, because that's what's happening. Like the last 2 clients I got, you know what they told me? Our transporter quit. Guy we've been dealing with for 10 years just won't pick up his phone
Just
anymore.
quit.
It's like, okay. And I get it. I can see, like, look, I'm new at this, so I'm not burned out by it yet, you know? But I'm not saying I won't be. But when that day comes, hopefully I will have learned enough about the business to where I can set myself up for success to have somebody come in and take my job. And I can pay them well. And I want to pay them well. Last thing I want is to use somebody and take all the money. You know, like, I fucking hate that shit.
Every entrepreneur I know says those exact same things. You know, so when they start out, you know, they do pretty much everything themselves until they can get it going enough where they can hire somebody. And
Yeah.
so the whole time you're learning, you're growing, and you're facing all these challenges. And then when you bring somebody else in, you got to start that process all over. You're now learning new things, growing, facing new challenges, and you bring
Yeah.
somebody else in.
Well, and see, me, like I said, I came into this business as an investor. I kind of went backwards on that because I thought my business partner knew what he was doing, and he did. I'm not saying he didn't. It just, you know, we didn't foresee the economy doing what it's doing. We didn't foresee fuel doing what it's doing, and it was just too much for him. And it was like, I can't keep afford to paying his bills for him. You know, like, the company has to make money at some point. You know, and you know, he gave it his best shot. I won't say he was lazy or anything like that. Quite the contrary. But he also had health problems, man. Poor dude had kidney stones that would keep him out of the driver's seat. You know, I've never had that issue, but from what people tell me, dude, that is not something to be going through while you're driving a fucking truck. You know, and so it was brutal on him. But, you know, it was the best thing that ever happened, was him walking away from the operational side. Now, he's still co-owner of this business. And he still has a job here waiting for him whenever he wants to come back. But it's not conducive to his situation. He wants to buy a house. Well, guess what? You got to prove income, and most banks won't even look at you if you're self-employed.
Unless you got like 2 or 3 years.
Yep. 3-year
Tax
minimum
returns.
for a mortgage. Yeah. Like, and he's like, dude, I need to get a house. And, you know, it's like, okay. You know, there was a lot of things going on that I don't fault him at all. And, yeah, it sucked at first. I was like, fuck, man. Just leave me out to dry, you know, but that's how it felt at first. And then now it's like, you know, it's a good thing he did. It's a really good thing he did. If he had not, we would have lost the company. For sure. Like, that was one of those things that just dawned on me like a month ago. It's like, you know, if Ben had stayed on, we'd be fucked. Like, I wouldn't have any money, and neither would he, you know? And,
you know, I've been, I'm a bit of a philosopher. I had the battalion, first tank battalion commander. You know, I was on his tank crew. He called me a philosopher. No, not Lieutenant Colonel Gordon.
Oh, the
Lieutenant
other
Colonel Barrick.
Barrick, yeah.
Yeah, he called me a philosopher, and I guess that I am. I sit here and ponder a lot. But I was thinking about how when you talk to older people, they come up with these cliches or these maxims that you hear all the time. And what I realized was that life is like you ever hear of pointillism? It's an art style where they use dots.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Life is like that. When you're going through it day to day, you're just looking at that one dot. But then as you get older, you start looking back at your life, and you can start connecting those dots and seeing, you know, where these principles are true, or this happened this way, and that really was the best thing, or I thought it was the worst day of my life, and it wasn't.
Yeah, trust me, man. I've taken it from someone who's been through the legal system. Yeah, there are times, man, you're like, what is this going to get any better? You know? But it does.
But now you can look back on it. You can pull these lessons that you learned out and pass them on.
Yeah, and that's my I'm looking at the big picture here. If I don't know how I'm going to do it, but if I can survive in the industry for the next 3 years, I know at the end of that tunnel, man, there's going to be so much work, and by that time I'll have a name. I'll have if I don't have new equipment, my truck will have more new parts and just keep on running. You know, it's a 20-year-old truck. Runs fine. You know what I mean? Like, But I
I'm in
keep
a
up on it.
2001 right now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you're in a 20-year-old truck too. Just because something's old don't mean it's a piece of shit, you know? And
Yeah.
that's what I would really like people to, like, if you're out there and you're struggling, if you could get out from underneath your truck note, do it. And go get you something older but again, if you're not willing to work on the shit yourself or find a business partner who knows how to do that type of shit, I mean, these are the only people that are going to survive, man. The owner operators and the small mom and pops. I mark my words, man. A lot of these big carriers that are doing acquisitions right now, they're going to be regretting it in a year. Promise you, because all they're seeing is, ooh, look at all these routes we can get. It's like, self-driving trucks ain't here yet, bud.
See,
Like, someone's got to drive those routes, and you ain't going to pay them, and they're not going to work. So,
I've always focused on what am I doing. I try not to pay attention to those other people because I know what I bring to the table and the services that I offer.
yeah.
And so I know that no matter what, I can go out there and I can make money, serving people. That's what business is serving people.
It's all about service. It has to be. Customer service is number one. Even if you have to eat it sometimes, that
Yes.
repeat phone call is worth more than that one unit, period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what people just don't understand. I think a lot of people get into business and say, oh, I'm going to just make money. I can't wait to make this money and this and that. It's about the money. And yeah, money is a part of being business. You have to make some, right? You can't work in the negative or else you're not going to exist. But you got to apply the philosophy of how to get that money, which is customer fucking service. Look at point in case. After the pandemic, Walmart took a fucking hit, man. Never recovered from it, by the way. I want to be very clear about that. Even when the economy turned back up, Walmart has been in a steady thing in decline. You know why? Because they treated all their customers like they were fucking prisoners. And people never forgot that. Target, not so much. Guess where people shop more now? Target, for the first time in years, is actually seeing a slight increase. They're not the cheapest place to shop, but they leave you the fuck alone. Like, and some people will pay. And like I said, the smaller guys, there's a Gentry and Sons Trucking. It's a YouTube channel. I love that dude. And he's got the same philosophy. He's like, I'm a small outfit. And like over the last 3 months, people have been calling me out of the blue because they're tired of the major carriers. They're tired of these people, shitty customer service, trucks breaking down, this and that. I'm telling you, man, you're going to see the old trucks fucking crossing the finish line. You're going to see the small companies that are willing to stick it out really turn into something big. And because there's no one else willing to do the work, man, we got more people walking away from this industry than getting in it. I'll say that much. I mean, that's a guarantee. I'll hang my hat on that. And
so Landstar has a Facebook group, and so all the drivers get on there, and we have agents that go out and get customers, and so these drivers will get on there and they will just trash these agents, and they don't realize these agents are your customers. You work for the agent. They're going out and they're calling these shippers and these receivers and booking these loads for you.
Yeah.
And then you got drivers who don't want to answer the phone. They think there's no reason an agent should be calling me. They will show up late. They'll say, oh, I'll be there at 1, and they don't show up till 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Without a phone call.
Yeah, without a phone call. And then they want to cry about why the rates are so low.
Because your service sucks.
Exactly. That's one of the big things that they teach here at Blue Ribbon. One of the first things they tell you is you communicate with the agent. As soon as you get there, when they send you the rate confirmation, you acknowledge it. Say, yeah, I got it. And then you tell them, hey, I'll be at that receiver or I'll be at that shipper at whatever time. And then you say, hey, I got here. Hey, I'm loaded. I'll be at the next place at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so communicative. Like, dude, as soon as something's on my trailer, I take a photograph of it. Boom, text message. You're good. I don't even call them half the time. I don't need to. It's just, and then they see it. Oh, it's on the trailer. And then, but if I run into any delays, because you know how it is, man, fucking road closures.
Happens.
Yeah, dude, shit breaks down. Fucking more often than not, it's not my fault. It's somebody in front of me. And all you gotta do is pick up the phone. And when you're in bumper to bumper traffic, there's no better time to do it. It helps time go by a little quicker. Just hit that button, boop. Hey, I'm stuck in traffic at this mile marker between this and that. I'm about, oh God, GPS says I'm still an hour out, but that could change. I could be there sooner or later. It all depends. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Or sometimes you got to call and find out if they got an after hours drop. Most people just assume whatever's on the BOL, that's what it is. No, call them. Fuck, they'll work with you.
Yeah.
Every time, man. You know how many, dude, I've dropped cars at midnight in fucking dealerships, man. And they just don't tell you. They always say, oh, well, if you can't be there, show up the next day. Well, that doesn't work for me. I'm here now, and I got to be somewhere else tomorrow. So,
Yeah, it never hurts to ask.
yeah.
And when you communicate like that, they remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they have another project come up, they say, hey, give me that guy that's calling all the time, that sends all those emails.
Yep.
Give me that guy.
Yep. And, you know, like I said, this may not work for the big guys, but always keep business cards. If you're an owner operator and you have your own authority, keep business cards around. Is it a little underhanded to fucking kind of cut the brokers out sometimes? Maybe. But if you've delivered somewhere 3 or 4 times, buddy, get rid of the middleman. You know, you don't have to. It's amazing what can be implied over what, because it happens to me all the time, man. Fucking guy said, well, I ordered this car a month ago. Why are you showing up now? I said, I just got the load. I said, but I deliver to you all the time. If that ever fucking happens again, here's my card.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. I'm not trying to take business away from them, but the way I look at it is if my brokers are dropping the fucking ball, I don't want the customer to get fucked. There.
Yeah.
And guess
That's-
what? It'll be cheaper with me.
Yeah, that's another philosophy that they teach here at Blue Ribbon, is that the closer you can get the driver to the customer, the better service you can provide.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. And there's no limit to that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but not every driver's personal. A lot of drivers just want to be a company driver. They don't want to fucking talk to. They just, where do I need to
nothing
drop
wrong with
it?
that.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool about this business is there is always somebody for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the drivers are going to be drivers. Dispatchers are going to be dispatchers. Mechanics are going to be mechanics. Rarely do you find somebody that can do it all. And I know. I've tried. It's hard.
Yeah.
And
I just got done reading a book about that called Who, Not How. And it's about when you have these big goals that you're asking yourself, how can I do it? You need to stop and think, who can help me with this?
Yeah.
You know, Carl's the mechanic. He came out and looked at it. I drive the truck. I can't drive the truck and work on it and still be as good a driver as I am.
Right.
So Carl comes and works on the truck.
See, but I mean that's just you. Me, I refuse to let anybody else work on my shit. I feel like my life's on the line. No other mechanic is going to take this job. Now Carl might be different because he understands the gravity of what he does, and that is rare.
Yeah.
It's rare to meet guys I know I was a mechanic.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude.
he's definitely a rare mechanic.
You know,
'Cause he showed me a list before he left of 10 items that need to be addressed.
yeah.
You know, it's little stuff, but other mechanics, they just change the hose and leave.
Right. Well,
They won't even check if it worked or not.
no, and you know, I the shit part is, like I said, man, I was a fleet mechanic. I get it. I've been on every side of this industry now. I've done my own dispatching. I've been my own broker. I've been my own mechanic. I'm a fucking driver. You know, I do the insurance. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've gotten so much experience, but now you're right. I am at that point. It's like, oh, I can't wait till I can afford to pay people to do
You
this.
can't do it. You can't do it all yourself forever.
No.
You got to find other people, because when you're doing everything, it's taking away time that you could be focused on more productive and more lucrative aspects of the business.
Expanding, yes. You
Yes.
know. And you're right. It is. I guess I just got a little jaded, man. I put my faith in somebody else already, and it didn't work out. Not because of their malfeasance or anything. It's just it made me realize that, like, yeah, dude, when somebody else's life is involved here, their life problems can easily become yours. And so it is that fine balance, you know. But I think for now, at least for the next 2 years, I'm going to try to stick this out solo as long as I can. But I don't know, something like if business picks up, correction,
Yeah.
when business picks up, I'm going to need somebody else. There's no way around it. And I don't know. I'm just hoping that it's lucrative enough to where I can offer incentive. Hey, man, come work for me, dude. Just come drive for me. You know,
Yeah.
like
Like
I
I
already
said,
have technically a dispatcher on the payroll, but there's not enough work for her to do anything. Like, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, well, just watch, you know, you and Ben take care of your guys' family, and I'll get this thing built up big enough to where everybody can come back and we can all meet in the boardroom someday. Because that's really what I want, man. Like,
Yeah, it's a hard line to walk when you're trying to get enough work and hire enough people to be able to do the work. It's a hard line to fall. It's a hard bounce. Like I said, I came off the road and we started this insulation business together. And I was trying to skip steps. You know, I was going from being a driver to I was a 50-50 partner, and I was the general manager of this business, and I was not ready for it. And it overwhelmed me, and it took a huge toll. I had to, I ended up stepping away because I couldn't deal with the crew. Me and the crew were having problems because I'm used to dealing with Marines where when you say, hey, go do this, it
Yeah.
goes and gets done.
when you say
Well,
jump, they say how high.
Yeah,
You know?
they're already in the air when they're asking how high.
Yeah. Right.
And you know, civilians aren't like that. So that was a big challenge for me. And then dealing with customers, always complaining, always trying to get something else out of you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then dealing with just the business side of things, just keeping up with inventory, keeping up with scheduling. Like it was too much for me, and I had to get back into the truck.
Yeah, and now I'm learning the hard side. Like I got a safety audit. I know is coming.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna do. I haven't gotten the official. Hey, show me your papers. So I'm gonna be proactive about it. I'm gonna contact the FMCSA, and I'm gonna say, hey, I need an account because everything's gone online now. I'm gonna say, hey, I need an account. Here's all my paperwork. Let's get this shit done and over with now. You know,
Yeah, usually they do a safety audit within the first year of having your authority.
first 2 years.
Supposed to.
Yeah. So I know I'm coming up on it one way, but
Yeah.
I mean, even guys that have had their authority for 10, 15 years are just getting randomly audited. Like they're doing a sweeping
Yeah,
audit right
they
now.
continue doing
Yeah.
random.
But right now, everybody I know is getting hit. They're like, show
Yeah.
me your shit. But I have the advantage, like, it's my first one. And if I go to them instead of them coming to me, it's going to make things a lot easier. I'm like, hey, I'm just concerned. I've never done this before. What do I got to do? What do you need from
Yeah.
me? And
here's
what I have so far.
There are a couple companies that will help with that. I know JJ Keller is one, and this other podcast I listened to, I think it might be like Trucker HQ or something, but his podcast is called Hauling Assets. That guy, his name is Chris, but he has another company that he helps people get their authority and gets everything kind of helps them get set up as far as compliance and paperwork goes. And so he talks about going through that safety audit and having a folder ready. That way, when they come, you just hand them the folder and they go through everything, and it's super easy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I do have that, and I actually keep it on me, really just for the DOT. Like, if I ever get pulled over by the DOT, I'm like, oh, here's my
Yeah.
drug screening, here's the vehicle maintenance, here's the hours of service, here's everything. Here it is. Here, have fun, you know? And it's all in a nice folder. There's tabs marking everything. It's got our COI,
Exactly.
all of it. It's just so they don't have to think, you know? And then,
yeah,
like,
well,
I got my second inspection the other day, and dude, he looked over my shit in like 10 minutes, came back, handed me, said, "You're good to go, man." I was like, I was so on point. He totally missed the broken mirror I had.
yeah, perception is reality. You know, if you have your stuff together, they're just going to assume the rest of it's together.
Well,
And they're just like everybody else. They're lazy. They don't want to work.
no,
You know,
it's just like it's like anything though. It's like the Marine Corps when you do like fucking uniform inspections or any type of inspection in the Marine Corps. They find one little thing. They're like, okay, well, what else is fucked up?
yep, there's definitely something else.
You know? So when the first thing they're always going to ask for is your fucking paperwork every time. So it's like, here you go. When that doesn't look out of order and that looks organized, and you've got extra pens and fucking all kinds of shit in there, dude, they get a hard on for it, dude. They're like, fuck yeah, all right, this is gonna be easy, you know.
Yeah.
And they see your fire extinguisher in arm's reach, you know. They see all your glasses intact, fucking none of your instrument lights are on, they're all clean. And I've had it happen now twice, dude, where highway patrol is like, man, this is one of the cleanest old rigs I've ever seen. And it's like, well, yeah, I take care of the truck, man. It's taken every bit of $15,000 to make it what it is today. And it's a work of art, in my opinion. It ain't the fucking prettiest, but you ain't going to find a second-gen Dodge hauling as much weight as me, looking as good as it does doing it. I promise you. Like, I've got all day long, man. I got guys in brand new fucking, you know, F550s and Ram 5500s just doing the double take. Like, how's that old fucking piece of shit pulling me? I'm hauling more cars, fucking just booking, you know. Now I'm not super trucking. I'm still keeping it at 65, but I can do that up every hill. I can do that, you know. I just set the cruise control and go. Sometimes I got a downshift, but not often. But I did a bunch of performance work to that truck too. That thing's pretty stout. She's gonna get a new turbo here shortly. Old one's just acting a little tired. I can starting to get a little bit of M play on the compressor wheel, so it's like, well, thrust bearings got ready to take a shit. I think it's time to get a turbo. Eventually I want to get compounds on it, but actually the water methanol I put on it, I almost don't need it. Keeps the EGTs down, gives me an extra 10% just like that. So it works out pretty good.
Yeah.
But I take pride in it.
That's a big thing.
I'm sure you do too, man. When you're driving an old truck and you're out pulling the new guys, you're like, fuck you.
See, I drive for fuel mileage.
Yeah.
I drive for fuel mileage so well that the company actually gave me an award.
Oh yeah,
at our company dinner.
You do you have it on you?
I do have it on me actually. I keep it in the truck with me because I never go home. Because that's how you make money.
That's true. That's true.
So, you know, I say I never go home. You know, I go wherever the money goes. So this is not some rinky-dink award that you get at a regular company. I mean, this is high class right here.
Look at that. There you go. That's fancy, man. See, I can't wait until I get to hand out awards like that.
Yeah.
See,
like I said,
my attitude is every morning I wake up, the CEOs of all my biggest competition, they have no idea that their biggest problem is already in the house snooping around looking at shit. That's me. See, I'm so small, they don't even know who the fuck I am. And that's fine. I'll keep it that way for a while until they're like, where did all my business go? And then they see this old second-gen Dodge pulling it. That's going to be me. I'm cutthroat like that.
5
man.
of them.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm still thinking maybe I ought to just get a fleet of these old second gens and just keep them around because they turn so many heads. I've had so many people offer to buy my shit. They're like, dude, I will give you like, how much do you want for that? I'm like, it's not for sale. like it's not because, dude, I get attached to equipment, man. I do. Like, I would much rather keep it around for years and years and years than to buy another one, you know? And if I'm buying another truck, it's a backup truck because I'm learning. Like, I had to down my truck for maintenance last week. Sucked. I missed out on 2 loads, but I wasn't going to keep driving with the brakes the way they were. So it's like, all right. But I got it fixed. And, you know, while I was in there, I found other things. I'm like, oh, shit, my left front hub is actually shot. I didn't even know it. You know, when I was jacking up the car, or the front end of the truck, I noticed the wheel went, I'm like, oh, fuck. That thing's loose as shit. No wonder the ABS light's on.
See, if you could find a mechanic that can do some of that more minor stuff, you could be out there making more connections, getting more customers, more parts.
Well, to be honest, dude, if I just focused on this and did not focus anything on the insurance side of the house, I could probably be doing a lot better. But I'm not there yet. Like,
Yeah,
Right now,
that's
I still need one to kind of float the other for now.
yeah.
But
That's what my one thing my mentor told me. He said, when you grow up on a farm, it has to get done. You know, the cows have to be fed. Doesn't matter what time it is. Doesn't matter what's going on.
nope.
It has to be done.
Yep, it definitely does. Well, fucking A, man. Is there anything we didn't really hit on? I think we covered just about everything at this point.
I do want to talk about fuel
Oh, yeah.
on the heavy side.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you do these contracts for freight, they have what's called fuel surcharge. And what that is fuel fluctuates so much that they have this little addendum that allows the price to change to allow for that volatility. That way you're not having to renegotiate a contract every week when the price changes.
Right.
And so a lot of these drivers are complaining that the fuel prices are too high, but what they don't understand is that you get paid more in the fuel surcharge the higher the price goes up.
Right.
And so like me, because I drive for fuel mileage, I can get my fuel mileage high enough that the fuel surcharge not only pays for all my fuel, but I make profit on it.
Right, because you're basically coming in under budget, and you're getting the
Exactly.
rest. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
So all these people complaining about high prices, let them go higher. Let it weed out the people who shouldn't be here, who aren't taking this business seriously. Let it weed them out.
My thoughts exactly, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I did that video. Just quit. If you don't want to just fucking quit, man. Like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, the less trucks in front of me, the better, man. Like, and I know it's not good for the industry as a whole, but you know, I'm tired of every YouTube trucker I've seen. Not every, but a lot of them are just like, speed limiters.
A lot of crybabies.
They're just crying. And I'm like, dude, you've been in this business for 35, 40 fucking years and you cry this much? I get it. The good old days are long gone. Well, I'm new at this and I'm used to it. So what the fuck's your problem? You know?
And see, here's a real benefit from you doing this podcast. You know, yeah, it shows people what it's really like, but what it does is it encourages those people who are in it to stay.
Yeah.
You know, because it gets hard and you want to give up, but you got to get around people who are going to encourage you and people who have failed and done stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you were saying, there's a lot of people who say just quit, a lot of naysayers out there. Yeah, you're gonna face that. And so if you can get around people who are like, no, this is a business, keep going.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you had a bad day, but keep going.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be different.
Dude, next year might be different. It
Yeah.
might be worse. I don't know. But
And so this might be the perfect segue for a place where you can find people like that. My company is putting on a live event in July 16th and 17th.
Okay.
You can come in. You can learn from Larry Long. I'm actually going to be speaking about how to drive for fuel mileage. And it's a chance to meet other owner-operators who are going through the same things that you are. You know, when do you get a chance to talk to the CEO at Google, right? Hardly ever.
Right.
But this is a chance where you can come in and talk to people who are either at your level or right above your level, you know, and learn what the next steps are and get that encouragement that you need to keep going.
Okay, yeah. And so for the audience, just so you guys know, I do have that information. I will be posting it in the link in the description when this video uploads to YouTube. Please, if you can, check it out. Support his company, and they will support you. They've got a pretty dynamite program from what I've heard, and I wouldn't back them if I didn't believe it. So, and I know this guy. I trust him with my life. I have before, so I know he's not sending you up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. And I do believe it does cost money to go to the event, correct?
Yes, the event is $395, and then they're going to have kind of a more advanced class on Saturday, which is an extra $99.
Okay, so for under $500, you can learn possibly how to save your company or grow your company. to me that seems like a no-brainer. If you're going to be, and what area is it? Where's this event being held?
So this is going to be held in Hurricane, West Virginia. That's kind of our main headquarters.
Okay.
That's where we do our orientation and stuff. The exact event location is on the website if you follow that link.
Okay.
And there, we also have a deal with a hotel there. It's a Wyndham Hotel.
Okay.
Special price. You just tell them that you're there for the Blue Ribbon event.
And they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because, like I said, we hold all our orientations there, and in the evenings after all the presentations are done, we're gonna go out to the bar, and the learning doesn't stop.
The learning doesn't stop.
We turn that hotel bar into the Blue Ribbon Lounge.
Nice. Have you done any of these events before yourself, or?
So I went through the orientation, and I got to go to a live event last year. I could only stop for half a day because I was under a load that I had to get going. But if you know that price point is a little bit out of reach right now, you know, I'm going to plug the podcast because a lot of that information is in there.
Okay.
You know, at least you can start learning, maybe catch a few tips, a few tricks, you know, get a mindset change from going from company driver to entrepreneur, and you know, really learning what it takes.
Sounds good, man. So for those of you watching, again, I will be putting all that together in the description down below when this video uploads to YouTube. I will edit in a intro I'll go back through and find all the timestamps. If you don't have the time to watch the whole interview, I understand. We're all a bit short-sighted as far as our attention span these days. So I will break this down into where somebody can, you know, just basically like a hot link, man, just boom, and then get the information that's valid. Before we get off here, man, what's your single largest tip for saving fuel? I know a lot of guys are going to want to hear that.
It's actually a gadget called the Scan Gauge.
Mm-hmm.
It hooks right into your ECM. It's plug and play, and it monitors anything that the engine's monitoring. And there's a throttle position sensor on there, and it does just that. It tells you where your throttle is at. It goes from 0 to 97. And if you can keep your throttle at about 50 the entire time you're driving, whether you're starting from 0 going up, or you're going up a hill, or you're cruising down the highway, you keep it about 50. Now that's on my truck and my engine,
Right.
but I'm getting 6.8 to just last week I got 7.7
That's
in a
pretty
Freightliner Classic, which is a brick.
Right. That's pretty damn good. I mean, if you can get anywhere close to the 7 to 8 in a heavy truck, that's doing good, man. That all equates to money in your pocket, you know, at the end of the day. And for those of you that are company drivers who say you don't give a shit, the more money you can save your company during these hard times, the less likely you're going to lose your fucking job when they sell out to Schneider or Swift or one of these other big carriers who's going to look at your driving record and say, go fuck yourself. Go find a job. Which has been happening, by the way, people. And a lot of these acquisitions, a lot of drivers who had some questionable records, they're gone. They can't justify the insurance increase rates, you know. Whereas a lot of other companies that are smaller, they're a little more willing to work with you because there's a personal relationship there. So for those of you guys that are worried about that, saving fuel at the end of the day is the number one way to keep your job. Period. Whether you're an owner operator or you're a driver, it keeps the lights on, because right now that's the single largest expense anyone's dealing with. That's why I laugh at the self-driving trucks. I'm like, do these self-driving trucks run on magic? Like, you really think the driver's the expense here? You know, so, well, honestly.
Well, thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
Yeah.
We could talk forever.
I know we can, dude, but I'm sure a lot of it's gonna, like I said, I gotta go back through and I'll upload it all right now. But thankfully YouTube will let me go on and put, you know, timestamps and stuff. as the I don't know if I'll be able to do it tonight, folks. I'm sorry, but I will definitely get that information for the seminar, and then your boss's or your company's podcast. I'll make sure that that gets put in the description as well, and just that way people can go and just gather information.
Yeah,
That's
give it a listen.
That's what all this is about, folks. Is if just get as much information as you can. It might not all be useful to you, but the more you have, I'd rather have more tools in my toolbox than not enough, right? So,
Yeah. And you can always take the principles out and apply it to whatever you're doing. Because even though we've been talking about trucking tonight, we've really been talking about business and being successful in life in general.
right, and that's a really good point, man. And I'm glad you said it. Realistically, man, it's just about perseverance, and there's only one way to do that. That's tenacity and making good decisions, and not being afraid to fuck up. You are. I mean, failure builds character, man. It creates an atmosphere where you don't do it again. The only time you should be worried about fucking up is if you keep doing it. So if you're making the same mistake twice, man, it's just kind of fucked up. So. But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, dude. You're always welcome on the program. I know you'll be driving a lot, and like I said, I'll give your company a shout out too. And I would love to speak with your bosses at some point. That would be awesome. I'm sure they're
Definitely.
busy people too, so it would be really awesome.
Yeah, they're putting on a live episode right now. They've been live about 15 minutes now.
Oh, okay. So we're
So I'm gonna go tune into that.
okay, man. Just add the frying pan into the fire, bud.
Oh, never stops.
All right, man. Well,
All right.
Haynes, it was good talking to you, man. I'm going to switch over here and do my little sign off for everybody. And like I said, when you guys get a chance, go check out the description. There'll be links in there for you. And hopefully you guys learned something. I know I did. That's why I love doing this. I learned a lot today. So I appreciate it.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Brad. All right. Good night.
Good night, man. Have a good one. Nope. Let's go here. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this very long-winded episode. I had a great time. I hope you guys had a great time. And those of you that are watching this after the live broadcast, feel free to check out the links in the description. I will have them up there. And I will be adding timestamps and cues and whatnot throughout the rest of the week here. I am a busy man. I have 7 cars I need to move tomorrow, and I've got 10 files I still need to fucking write tonight for the insurance companies. So give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe if you're new. If you really, really like the content, thumbs up is good. If you didn't, whatever. Move on. That sucks. Entertainment is subjective, and I know I can't please everyone, and I'm not going to try. So, again, for those of you that tuned in throughout the whole thing, thank you very much. Auntie Green, you're one of them. Congratulations on the wrench, and hopefully that will come in use over the coming year as the channel expands and more people become involved and get more active in the chat. I really, really look forward to communicating with people that watch the program and the channel. That's pretty much it, folks. If you have any comments or concerns, you can leave them down in the comment section, and I do my best to answer every comment. I am still a small enough channel to where that is feasible, so I try to do that. And if you guys have any suggestions for topics, anybody that you think might want to come on the program, I'm all ears for that. And I have an email. It's localebroadcast@gmail.com if you want to be on the program and you want to offer your 2 cents or maybe offer some insight into the transportation business that somebody else hasn't. Feel free to do so. Again, folks, I really hope you enjoyed it. And we're gonna sign off now. So have a great rest of your day. And a great week next week. See ya. No, I think we're good. Can you hear me still? Okay. Yeah, no, we're good, man. So I really appreciate it, dude. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I know, I'm looking at the ticker, I'm like, fuck, we've been at this for an hour and a half, holy shit. I couldn't stop. I mean, what was great is there was no dead air, except for when you had to help your mechanic, so that worked out great. Hang on, let me end the stream here. I've got the outro music playing, so. See, I'm responding to the chat here. Oh yeah, no, trust me, we can do a lot with this. Okay.